Hi, my name is Jacob Robinson, and I'm a third-year medical student at Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. I'm here presenting a poster with my classmates. The poster is entitled Educational Interventions and Sun Protective Behaviors in Grade School Children. My classmates that helped me work on this research are Jenna Mamatov, Karen Fang, and Prutha Patel.
All right, so solar radiation often causes progressive damage to the human dermis and epidermis. This damage is a risk factor for skin cancer and premature aging. Studies estimate that about 50% of UV exposure actually occurs before the age of 20, so it's very imperative that these sun protective behaviors are started at an early age. In addition, our study was looking at the interventions given directly to children in settings such as the classroom. There have been mixed results on the efficacy of these programs, and this poster was a meta analysis of several studies with similar metrics to determine just how efficacious these kinds of interventions actually are. Our hypothesis was that classroom interventions and educational programs will actually increase the number of grade school children engaging in these sort of behaviors.
Four primary sources were used to examine the relationship between educational interventions and sun protective behaviors of children. The studies included in the meta-analysis were survey-based. The number of children engaging in both sunscreen use and hat wearing during sun exposure were used as an outcome for determining both odds ratios. The data was input into Review Manager 5.4. The software generated both data tables and the forest plots, and also performed a z-test to determine the statistical significance of the overall result.
In our results section, the top two, Table 1 and Figure 1, they are showing the number of children engaging in hats for sun protection. Two of the studies demonstrated that educational interventions given directly to the children did actually increase the odds that the children would engage in hat use during sun exposure. And two of the studies did not display statistically significant difference. Upon analysis, the total odds ratios was found to be 1.55. However, the p-value was 0.07. So the result overall was statistically insignificant. Table 2 and Figure 2 in the bottom of the results section show the number of children using sunscreen for sun protection. Two of the studies in Table 2 demonstrated that educational interventions actually did increase the number of children that would engage in sunscreen use during sun exposure, and two of the studies did not display statistically significant difference. Upon analysis, the total odds ratio was found to be 2.08, but this result was also statistically insignificant because the p-value was 0.007.
Okay, so the overall odds ratio were found to be statistically insignificant, despite appearing to show that the children in the intervention group had higher odds of sunscreen use and hat use during sun exposure. And interventions given directly to children in school settings do not appear to increase the odds that children were engaging in sun protective behaviors. One of the papers, which had the children assess their own sun protective behaviors, displayed the highest odds ratio for both hat and sunscreen use. Some of the other studies that did not find any statistical significance, for example, the paper by Naldi had the legal guardians assess the sun protective behaviors of the children. When assessing their own behavior, the children in one of the papers may have been just providing the answer that they knew the surveyor wanted to hear instead of an accurate assessment of their own behaviors. And several limitations of this meta-analysis also exist. This includes that the study could not control for the exact type of intervention used. However, only studies that used interventions given directly to children and not their legal guardians were used.
So after analyzing the data, we concluded that educational interventions given directly to children do not appear to increase the odds that the children will engage in sun protective behaviors, in particular hat and sunscreen use. Future research needs to focus on whether giving interventions directly to the children's legal guardians will increase the number of children engaging in sun protective behaviors. We believe this is very important because, as we said earlier, the damage is cumulative over the lifetime and you get most of your UV exposure as a child. We've attached our references down in the bottom right-hand corner. And we'd also like to thank our mentor, Dr. Saradakis, for helping us throughout our project. Thank you so much for listening to our research presentation. We hope you have a great day.